Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Now, your home podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and I'm bringing you today a little bit of the week of the Miami Heat, particularly at least the last couple games and my perspective on them. But before I start, I do want to thank all of you for supporting the shorts. All right, that is something that I have introduced into this program, the 305 Sports Shorts, in which I will be giving you, a brief feedback on each Heat game. I can't promise you next season I'll do all 82. That is a lot of basketball, to cover, but I will try my best to make sure that you get your shorts. It has done very well, and I want to thank all of you because subscribership has gone up since I've been doing it, and I'm very, very, very grateful to all of you out there in the YouTube sphere, my audience in particular, or those of you that are watching as well, casually, that have been watching and subscribing to the program. Every little bit helps. We are trying to get to 1,000. 1,000 is the threshold. Okay, we're over 700, so we're right there. Okay, and this channel started this past summer. So thank you very much to all of you again who are supporting the channel, and let's continue to support this channel so I can keep giving you the best content possible as I could give you. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about and I want to say is that last a couple games ago when the Miami Heat lost to the Knicks off of that basically prayer shot by Julius Randle, the one thing it did is that it brought me back, to the time in which I really hated the New York Knicks. And it reminded me, I still hold those feelings against the New York Knicks. I can't stand the Knicks. Now, my anger towards them has quelled throughout the years because let me tell you something. I'm 42 years old. So I was a very young individual when it was Mourning, Hardaway, Marley, in particular, versus the likes of Ewing, Starks, and Allen Houston. So it brought me back to those days when you literally had, fist fights and guys flying into stands and coaches hanging on ankles, in particular, to that rivalry. And this is good. All right. I do like the fact that if the Knicks do become a better basketball team, even though I really don't like Tom Thibodeau personally, I think he overworks his players. This is good for the league because a Knicks Heat rivalry has always been good for the NBA. But nonetheless, I think one of the main reasons why this has really picked up for me is because the Knicks are playing better this year, and they have beaten the Heat twice. So that is something that I can't shake. But I will say one thing: if the Miami Heat would have played with 50% of the defensive intensity in the first half that they played in the second half, the Miami Heat roll over the Knicks. All right, because 71 points given up in the first half of that game, that is something that a Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra team cannot condone. All right, and Spoelstra has called out his team for basically not displaying that kind of energy, since returning from the All-Star break. Because the one thing that he can hang their hats on is the fact that they are a pretty solid defensive team, even this year with all their struggles. The problem is the shooting, all right? The Heat went from being a top three-point shooting team last season to being 25th in the league. That is a huge drop-off, and it's affected, them in the win column, and it's affected their standing in the Eastern Conference because other teams have gotten better, whereas Miami Heat have stayed pretty much the same, or they've lost a couple pieces that are very instrumental into the championship run last year. All right, so that's something that that has to be addressed. I will say this though: the Miami Heat still match up very well against the Atlanta Hawks. All right, the Hawks came into Miami this past weekend and were beaten by the Heat. 117-109. The Heat did almost blow a 21-point lead, but they were able to withstand that assault, winning 117-109. They held Trae Young in check. All right, so that's a good thing. Trae Young still continues to score well. Not against Miami, had under 10 points in that game, but also he continues to chuck up, unnecessary threes that do hurt his team and put the Heat in transition to be able to score the basketball. Bam Adebayo was a beast. All right, Bam Adebayo balled. Okay, 30 points, 11 rebounds in that game, and a couple of chime-ins from Tyler Hero and also from Jimmy Butler as well. Okay, so that is something that the Miami Heat, have something to look forward to, is the fact that they can't get it. All the Heat really need to do is just better their offense. All right, that's the one thing that they really need. They are currently in 7th place, in the Eastern Conference. They're 2.5 games behind, the Brooklyn Nets that seem to be trajecting downward. If they can land in that 6th spot with about 12 games left, I do think the Miami Heat, could make a small push in the playoffs. I don't think it's their year as far as championship goes. I think the solid teams are Boston, Milwaukee as well. Not sold on Philly. All right. But I am sold on Boston and Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a pretty consistent team. Also both those teams are very playoff experience, as is Philadelphia. I'm not gonna lie, but you can't talk about Giannis and of course Jaylen Brown, all those guys, and one in Milwaukee, one in Boston. So I do think that it's the Eastern Conference at the top is very solid, very good teams. Like any of them can win the championship. Like I said, I'm not sold on third place Philadelphia 76ers. I just don't see it. But the Heat could make a push, all right, and they could actually meet Philly if they remain as the 6th seed. So that could be a good matchup for the Miami Heat, and they could be able to move on to the second round. They just have to avoid the play-in round. Anything could happen in the play-in round. I like the fact the NBA's done that. It rewards teams that were very close, but maybe a bucket or two here kept them out of the 8th seed. This kind of gives them the opportunity to prove themselves that they could be a playoff caliber team, and actually excel and maybe even make a run. Who knows? But the Miami Heat in general, to make a long story short, defense has got to tighten up. They play very good defense against Atlanta, the other night, so that's a good thing. All right, and also those shots have to fall eventually, man. Missing Kyle Lowry has been huge for this team. When he's out there and healthy, all right, he has struggled this year as well. That's why he doesn't play in the fourth quarter. But when he's been healthy, he's been very good for this basketball team, and when he can, last season he was very good in the playoffs, struggled a bit in the playoffs as well, but when he was good, all right? I know that's easy to say for anybody, but I'm just trying to say that he could be an important piece. But as of right now, I mean, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, those are guys that you're relying on, to get you over that hump. Miami, honestly speaking, Miami needs a true third guy. Tyler Herro is only 23 years old. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's not yet hit his prime. I still think Tyler Herro is better, coming off the bench. Not because he can't start, only because Miami hasn't been able to replace those 26 points or 25 points that he averaged last season. And I do like Kevin Love. I do like Cody Zeller. I think, once they gel better, the Heat will play better, as well. I think Cody Zeller's been, the better acquisition so far, but Kevin hasn't been bad either. He's been good on defensively and rebounding the ball as well. But Cody Zeller's been a bit more active, and he's been more of a scoring punch. But nonetheless, all right, I do think, like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea that Tyler Herro comes off the bench, all right? And because he was good last year, that he won 6th man of the year, and I know he's making starters money, he wants to start, but at the moment, I think that's what the team needs, all right, as well. And Max Strus better off, with the starters, defensively speaking, like he was last year. But again, I'm just here on YouTube, giving my perspective. I like to hear what you guys have to say. Basketball is a pretty interesting season where it is a bit up and down every so often. You have runs where you're great, you have runs where you're not. All right, right now the Miami Heat, are 2-3 coming back from the All-Star break. All right, so still yet to be seen. Let's hope they win. They could win tonight against the Hawks. I will be bringing you a short on that game as well, and I will be bringing you a little bit of perspective as the week goes along as well here on YouTube, giving you a full-blown episode. All right, buddy, that's it for me. If you like what you heard, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Once again, I am Will. Stay safe. God bless. See you soon. Go Heat, and I will be covering the Hurricanes men's basketball team. And their ACC co-championship. So stay tuned for that. Have a great day. God bless. See you soon.